Welcome to another edition of Cybersecurity Divas Leadership Moments with Lendrell Downs. Today's edition is brought to you by Fortify Experts, a cybersecurity search and consulting firm that helps companies build high-performing security and risk teams. Now here's Lynn.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lendrell Downs. I'm actually founder of Cybersecurity Divas, and I have Deb Briggs online here and to interview. She is the CISO at NetScout Systems. So, hi, Deb. How you doing? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much for inviting me and having this interview. So a little bit about myself. I have grown up through IT. So, I came the traditional route. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science, but when I went to school, that meant you learned how to code. And I think it was my senior year in college, I was like, I do not want to sit in an office by myself at a terminal all day. And I had the opportunity to get an internship at GTE. And GTE at the time, Government Systems, actually had like 14 co-ops or intern positions. And you got to interview with every manager, and you got back to HR and you said what job you'd want most. And I wanted to be in end user computing. I wanted to learn PCs. I wanted to teach people how to use PCs. And I went from, servicing to being a messaging expert, doing email. Because email ran on a server, I had to learn servers. Because servers sit on a network, I had to learn networking. And then I ended up, prior to NetScout, working at RSA Security. And for a while there, I ran not only their voice and data network, but their security operations too. So I think I've done every job in IT except writing code, which is what I have my degree in.
I love it. And from college, so do you have any certifications or anything? Did you actually go out and get certified in anything?
Yeah, so besides my bachelor's, I have gone back to school and got my master's, my MBA. From a technical track throughout my career, I'm going to really date myself. So I was a Novell, what is it, a CNE, certified Novell engineer, CNA, and then I've got a Cisco certification. I am a CISSP. So yeah, I've tried to, as my career came up, get those technical certifications also.
How many years have you been in technology?
Oh, it's over 25.
So then and now, what's called information security or information technology to cybersecurity. What do you see the changes or the difference from then and now?
When cybersecurity first came about, I want to say a nice to have, but nowadays there is so much money and brand reputation and so much money you can lose that cybersecurity is a board conversation. It is typically the number one risk to any company that's out there. And so cybersecurity really is, something that every company has to be doing, where 20 years ago, the I love you virus, what was the malicious payload? It sent an email to everybody that said, I love you. Today's, malware has a ransomware attack to it and bricks every storage device in your company, and it ends up costing you millions of dollars. So just the whole threat landscape has changed. And because that has changed, our jobs in this industry have had to continue to change and evolve.
I do totally agree with that. Did you have any mentors or any coming up in cybersecurity? Did you have anybody that mentored you or you mentored?
Yes, I have had mentors, and I've also been a mentor to people. I think that's something that you just have to do. You cannot be successful on your own. And I think you need to get, mentors out there, and they don't even have to be in the cybersecurity space. I know I have a mentor that I approached him and said, would you help me? Because of the communication skills and the way he could talk to people and his influencing skills. Those are critical skills with cybersecurity. I belong to another organization. I did get a mentor. And so she helped me, sort of, I want to say, build my brand and become a little bit more visible outside of my company. And I've turned around at the same time and mentored other people, both in a CISO role, but also within the NetScout organization, they asked, someone is looking to go into management. Would you be willing to mentor them on leadership skills?
So you've had a big part in mentoring. Kind of name one or two of them that you have.
Yep. So I belong to the Executive Women's Forum,
Okay.
and they have mentorship programs. So I've participated both in a mentor and mentor role within my own company. And STLC actually has a relationship with Bay Path Community College. And I got an opportunity last semester. It is a program that is heavily women-based, very diverse. And so I got to mentor someone. She is in her senior year. And, it was a great opportunity to see how young people, the skills that they're learning in part of these cybersecurity degree program, it was really nice. So, if someone reaches out to me and asks me to be a mentor, I just don't say yes. I want to, but I also want to make sure that when I have that relationship, I have time to put into it. I don't want it to be, let's meet once a month. I like to be able to put into it where we're meeting once every week or every other week for an hour. I think it doesn't have to be a long-term engagement, but I think you need that consistent reach out to people. And the two people that I met from Executive Women's Forum a year and a half ago, we still talk, even though sort of the official relationship is over. They're part of my peer group now. And we talk at least once a month.
Okay, and can you name one or two of them?
Off the top of my head, Janie Holland from NIC was my mentor. And I feel, because I didn't have a chance to talk to someone, the people that I have mentored, I wouldn't want to say their name, but within NetScout, Brian McCann, who now works at Newstar, Brian is the person I actually reached out to because of his communication skills and his influencing skills and his style. It was something that I wanted to move my style more to his, because people respond and he engages people extremely well. And so I've kept up with him, my relationship also.
Oh, that's great. What has been your greatest challenge in getting to the level you are today?
It's changing, and it's changing slowly. You really had to be tenacious. Cybersecurity was not an open door for women. I remember even a couple of years ago, I would go to IT security event, and if there were 500 people there might be 3 women. And it's very daunting when you go and you're less than 1% of the crowd. And there are still people in the industry that are like, you're the token female. And it's almost like you continually have to prove that you deserve it. You have the skills and you do have the understanding and the technical chops. And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges is, the environment. Now, people like Security Divas and different women security organizations are really starting to change that. It's been a slow process. But nowadays, if you go to a security event, it's not 50% women, but at least it's now more towards 10%.
Yes, that is so true. And just like I said, you are a diva, and I really appreciate everything that you have actually done and contributed to cybersecurity. You are a driven, inspirational, visionary woman that has taken action security. You are a cybersecurity diva. So thank you for that. Yes.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yeah. All right. Let me give you another question. Early in your career, what kind of mistakes did you make that made you a better cybersecurity person?
So what mistakes did I make early in my career? One of the things that we lose sight of, and it's interesting because if you look at my resume, I tend to stay at companies. I do not change jobs every 2 or 3 years. And I know that makes me the exception in the role that I'm at, because a lot of people move role to role. I think what you have to do, even if you're at the same company doing the same role, it's not the same thing. You have to be able to reinvent yourself. You can't get stuck doing the same thing day in and day out. You have to do what you are passionate about. And I think if I look back in my career, I think when I started out doing end user support and learning to stand up in front of a room full of people and teach computer classes, once I understood and knew how to do that, I think there are times in my career where I may have, I don't want to say gotten comfortable, but I should have said, well, what's my next step? Right. And I think that's what you need to do. And I've done that. Been at NetScout, I'm approaching 17 years, but I don't have, like, every year I approach it as a new job. What are my changes? What do I want to do differently this year? You've got to always be learning. You've always got to be growing. Even if you've got the job you love, something may happen and you may not have it tomorrow. Build that peer network. Build the relationships now so that when you need them, you have them.
That I totally agree. Networking and communication and relationships is key to cybersecurity. That's what I think. I feel. How have you been able to reach the level you are in this male-dominant world?
Tenacity, thick skin. And it's tough because, I can get on my soapbox. I still think a lot of the larger cybersecurity events, I won't name names, and I've said this to different women. If I was standing there ready to talk to a vendor and a man walked up behind me, they would turn and talk to the man first before me.
Mm-hmm.
And that still happens today. You have to be able to just shake it off. If that's the vendor, then I don't want to do business with them if they're going to go to the man first, especially if I was there waiting. So you have to be tenacious. You have to be passionate about it. If it's not something you love and want to do, get out.
Mm-hmm.
Run for the hills. I mean, to be successful, you have to be a trailblazer. You have to be prepared that you're going to be told no. And, if it's something that you really want to do and you feel passionate about, if you pick yourself back up and you figure out, okay, what other way can I approach it to make this happen? That's my advice.
Well, I'm gonna take you off topic a little bit, okay? What is the last TV show you binge watched?
I think I am probably a Rizzoli and Isles. And it's so funny because now that I think about it, or The Closer, they're both where women play the lead character. So Rizzoli and Isles or The Closer.
I love them both. What advice would you give a woman who wanted to pursue cybersecurity or information technology career path?
There are so many jobs out there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that think cybersecurity jobs are all about forensics and some of the things they see on TV. It's not. People sometimes ask me, what do I look for in a candidate? Yeah, I want you to have some technical skills, but that's not the primary thing. I want you to be able to communicate. I want you to be driven. I want you to be able to tell me how you think logically about something. Give me an example that you're self-motivated. Because if you're driven, I can teach anybody a technical, if you have the aptitude, you can teach people anything. And I think, that's what you need to do. Is sometimes I think young women in particular get scared away from cybersecurity. They may see it as too much of a male dominated role. They may have seen what they saw in the movies and it's all about, hacking and forensics. And that doesn't interest them. That's like sitting in your cube all day, writing code. There are so many career paths and choices within cybersecurity. And I think that's something that we, as either women or even just anybody in cybersecurity, we have to make ourselves more visible at career fairs within the high schools. I have gone and spoke to different colleges, to their cybersecurity groups and classes. And they're all thinking, well, we have to take forensics and be able to do this. I'm like, well, that's okay. But if that's not something you love, cybersecurity can be about, if you're into people, you can do security awareness training. If you like to put puzzles together, we can teach you how to be a threat hunter. If you're organized and like law and order and everything in its right box, we can teach you how to do auditing. And so there's a lot of different roles. And I think that's what we don't do a good job showing that to people, especially young women.
So what advice can you give a mid-level security analyst who aspires to be that leader like you?
Find yourself a mentor. And it doesn't have to be in your company. You have to join some cybersecurity peer groups. You have to start building that network. There are lots of cyber jobs out there on the boards, but there are some things that never even make it to the board. Sometimes it is, word of mouth. Hey, I know someone who may be ready for that first CISO role or a director role. And so I think it goes back to what I said. You really need to have that peer network group, but you just can't attend the meeting and be silent. You have to participate. There are a lot of local groups that offer training opportunities. Different members like to go in and talk about different things. So I would say You've got to find a mentor. If you attend an event, there are 10 women there or 10 people. Link into those people. Start building that network up. You have to have a network. I reach out to people after events. They've said, hey, I use XYZ tool. And if I use XYZ tool, I may reach out to them and just link into them, because you never know. Someday I may want to know how someone else is using that tool.
Right.
And now I have that connection.
Great advice. LinkedIn is my baby. I find a lot of good people on LinkedIn. What is your biggest concern about the current state of preventing cyber threats today?
I think it's been said a lot. The bad actors, they work together. I mean, the dark net, they share code all the time. And we are still, as a cybersecurity enterprise companies, you can't share everything. If you've had a breach or you stopped a breach, unless you have that really tight knit group, you can't share a lot of details. So the bad guys are working together and we're all working individually. And that's definitely one of the things. The other thing is, I think the recent SolarWinds event has really made us stop and think that, just because someone is a $1 billion company and is listed on the stock exchange, just blindly putting their stuff into your network and accepting automatic updates, I think that trust, it's going to take a real tough time for us to be that trusting again.
Right.
And we're all reacting at this point to third-party risks with all the equipment that we've built our infrastructures out of.
What do you think about AI and cybersecurity?
We have to have it. We have to have it. There's not enough people. We have to be able to build, automated response using an intelligence that we know of. Not only that, but we have to start getting better. You're never going to have a signature to an attack, but MITRE, they've got that attack framework. And I think, we all need to start looking at that framework and building out what some of those attacks would look like.
Right, that's true. So what do you think people or employers not doing enough to keep these attacks at bay?
I think that people, and myself included, like sometimes use all the flashy new toys and look at all the new tools. But, cybersecurity, if you don't have a strong foundation, it doesn't matter how pretty the house is on top. I mean, you really have to drive to, patching the vulnerabilities, educating your end users. And those are like job one and job two. And those to me are like the foundation of your house. And if you're not doing those well, it doesn't matter what you build on top. Someday it's going to come crashing down. And so I think it's some of the unsexy things, like I said, patching, training, and communicating to end users.
What do you think about in-house training? Like you may be doing SOC or monitoring, but you're also learning another skill within cybersecurity. So you have backup in both places. What do you think about that?
Definitely. So a couple of things about training. You can never have enough cybersecurity team members. You're always going to want more. But I think to your point is, even if you've got someone who's a superstar on your team, even superstars take a vacation and have a sick day. I think you need to take a look at the skills across your organization. You need to figure out who the next person up is, and make sure that, because we're all going to burn out if we have to be 110% every day, all day. And I think to your point, you need to train next man up, next woman up. How about that? You have to train next woman up. But I also think cybersecurity training for all your end users, it can't be a once a year thing that's an hour and it's a checkbox. Sometimes training needs to be more regular and it needs to be timely. You're not going to talk in March about, hey, Christmas scams, and you're going to get an email that says you've got a package from Amazon we couldn't deliver. You tend to save those for December.
Right.
Nowadays, should be talking about COVID scams if you haven't already. Within the next couple of weeks, you should be talking about tax scams because people are starting to file. So I think training needs to be timely.
Last question. So what do you see the biggest opportunity to improve cybersecurity?
We need more women. It's that simple. It is that simple. There are so many open jobs and there are so many talented women out there. There really is. Women make up 50% of the world's population, and we make up a small fraction of people in cybersecurity.
I want to say Thank you, Deb, very much for this interview and for being the diva that you are. And you are a driven, inspirational, visionary woman that's taking action in security. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
I do. There's one thought that I want to leave with all the other divas out there is if you are not already on a nonprofit board, if you think that the for-profit companies need cybersecurity, your nonprofits do, and they don't have the resources to go hire someone. There are local nonprofits all around the neighborhoods. Go find someone and help them. Take the talent, the God-given talent that you have, and go back and scan their networks. Teach them about cybersecurity. Whatever you can do to give back. And my second thing is get involved in your high school, especially if you're a woman. When they have career days, I know right now with COVID in schools, they aren't having them really. Put yourself out there and be willing to speak at career fairs. I think it's important that young women that are interested in STEM careers, cybersecurity is one of those, and it is often overlooked. So I would say those are the two things. Look for a nonprofit to volunteer at, and two, get involved in your high school career day.
Okay, I like that. Well, thank you, Deb. I look forward to actually getting this interview out on the web so we can inspire these young women out there, divas in the making, as I call them, and we'll go from there. All right?
Yeah, and anybody who's watching this, I am on LinkedIn. Feel free to link into me. Happy to help other young women advance.
Okay, all right.